if I could at least be one person that can spread that message, and if just even one person that also struggles with that walks through the door and can feel the change there, then I'm happy.
This is Don't Fear Grit with Rob Taormina. Marketing strategies and advertising technologies to help you build a better business.
Hey guys, welcome back to 2021. The last time we spent some time together, we were going over the top episodes of 2020, and I've got an incredible guest to kick off the brand new year, brand new start. And you know, brand new starts means New Year's resolutions, all that crazy stuff. So we're going to be starting with a brand new series featuring some incredible entrepreneurs. And it's great that we get to bring to the table, really, to the studio, to Don't Fear Grit, an entrepreneur with an amazing story. You're going to want to listen to her, but I don't want to give too much away. First, I want to bring her to the studio. Welcome, Kelsie.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, listen, we're so glad to have you here in the studio. And before we move forward, as we always like to do, give some context. Let everyone know who you are, what's the name of your business, a little bit of your backstory, and then we'll launch right into it.
Okay. So, as you said, I'm Kelsie. I own Kelsies Barre in Nesconset. It's a bar studio. Our saying is effective but sustainable fitness. So what that means to me is we have classes that are obviously effective, right? So you're getting all the toning that you want, you're getting the results that you want, but it's something that's sustainable, which I feel like a lot of gyms, you feel burnt out, you feel tired, you feel exhausted after you leave the gym. So my kind of, what I like to do is make them so that you feel refreshed afterwards, you feel confident, and you feel strong. So that's kind of at least what I aim to do, and my clients seem to agree with me on that. So that's the business that I own, and what inspired me to do that is from my own struggles with finding balance and kind of having a healthy relationship with exercise and eating. And I feel like there's a lot of people that struggle with that too. And I thought that if I could at least be one person that can spread that message, and if just even one person that also struggles with that walks through the door and can feel the change there, then I'm happy.
That's amazing. So, all right. By the way, you've already revealed a lot here.
I know.
And I think everyone is really interested and can't wait for you to now talk about the details. So I guess I'll start at the end and we'll sort of come back. So First, I know you're a business owner, but I want everyone to understand you had this dream, right, of opening up a business. And what date did you open up your business?
So I opened up March 15th, 2020.
And when was the shutdown?
March 16th, 2020.
So, all right, guys, I don't know if you picked up on that. She literally worked so hard to launch this incredible business that was her dream. She launches it on March 15th, the day before the shutdown. You're open for less than 24 hours. And now you're already shut down.
Yeah.
So that must have been quite a blow. And so we're going to get into that. But I want everyone to hear that, because it really sets the stage for the story that you're about to tell here. So here's someone who is a business owner. She literally launched right before the lockdown, and you're still open.
Yes.
She is still open. All right,
still
good.
have some clients.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to get back to that now a little bit later on. But really, I want you to sort of paint the picture.
Yeah.
Like, who is Kelsie and how did you become an entrepreneur? What led you to want to open up this story? So let's go way back.
That's right.
Now, you said it's Kelsies Barre is the name of the business, right? Now, when you say Kelsies Barre, I'm like, is it a bar like you serve alcohol? Like,
everyone thinks that at first. I'm like, it's fun, but not that type of fun.
Yeah. By the way, this is coming out obviously from the person who's not really that into fitness, clearly. But when you talk to people in that arena, they obviously know what that is. And how do you spell the word bar? So now we know the difference.
Barre.
There you go.
It's not bear. I do have people coming in
right?
asking about my bear classes. It's not bear.
No bear classes, right?
Or it's not barre either.
Okay, awesome. But Kelsies Barre, it's a wonderful health and fitness place.
Yeah.
Now, so how did you get into sort of that type of fitness? What was that day that you got into it?
So, bar specifically, I didn't get into until a couple years ago. Like I said, I've tried everything. I've done CrossFit, I've done strength training, HIIT, I've done all of it. And like I said, for me, it was kind of trying to find that type of exercise where it felt more like a hobby, more like, I feel like people associate exercise as like a chore or something that they have to do. Oh, I have to go to the gym and I have to tighten up this spot or lose X amount of pounds. And for me, it was, well, I want to feel good after I work out. I want to feel good during the workout and I want to feel good after the workout. And I started with yoga when I was in high school. I became a yoga teacher freshman year of college. So I was going to college and going to yoga school at the same time. So I actually joked around with some of my college friends and I said, you guys are working at grocery stores and bagging up groceries, and I get to go to a yoga studio and teach a class when I get off the class.
Right, you had it made. They were probably jealous.
Yeah. So that was fun. And then kind of through there, I just experimented with like Pilates, and then I found barre a couple of years later, and that's definitely what resonated with me because I like how you kind of focus on each muscle group. So you fatigue a muscle group and then you stretch. You fatigue a muscle group and then you stretch. And
you probably get better results that way.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're working on flexibility and strength. And it was something where I felt challenged. But I also, like I said, I wasn't feeling burnt out afterwards. I definitely felt sore. I felt good. I was more importantly, feeling the results because I don't like to go by seeing the results. Obviously, look good, feel good. That's a real thing. So I was feeling the results. I was seeing the results. And it's just something that I felt like, I'm going to take this and I'm going to run with it.
That's awesome. You know, you actually hit on something I think it's really important, and it's a lesson not just in fitness, but I think carries over to all areas of life, which is when you can't add enjoyment through what you're doing, that's the thing, that's the driving factor. So if you don't have a passion and you're not excited to do it, that's what leads you to doubt and it leads you to very easily quit, which is why number one, I think people don't follow through on New Year's resolutions, right?
Yes, I was definitely going to bring that up too. It's like you're reading my mind now.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, people set these unrealistic, I guess, New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
And not that the result isn't attainable, but I think what they do is maybe they pick a path that's not enjoyable, and that's what leads them to quitting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not only that, but I mean, it is definitely a big part of it is the goal that you pick because if you're going from sitting on the couch all day watching Netflix, eating potato chips, and then you say, okay, you know, tomorrow's January 1st, so I'm going to hit the gym for 2 hours and I'm going to eat nothing but greens. You can't just go.
You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna wake up sore. You're gonna always be hungry.
You can't go from 0 to 100 because then you're just, not only are you setting yourself up for failure, but that's not sustainable, which again, that's why I love that word sustainable because that's what it's all about. You want to choose something where you can succeed in it. And if it's not a goal or anything that's sustainable, you're not gonna keep up with it. It has to be at least somewhat fun. So
you try to make now all the classes that are in your business, obviously something that people get a good result.
Yes.
But you make it fun.
Yes. I'd like to say, you know, even if the workout is very painful, at least you have me guiding you through it. So
Now, I'm sure that through this whole pandemic, like, you know, a lot of the businesses that have been able to persevere, that you've been able to create a pretty loyal sort of customer base.
Yes.
Right? What has that been like?
Well, I did have a pretty high position at a studio before I launched this one. And so a lot of my clients carried over from that previous business. So I kind of had the rapport with those people. And some of them I've had for like 2 or 3 years now. And I think just because with fitness, it's such a personal thing where someone is... their hair is all messed up, they're sweaty, like they're so vulnerable in that time. And the person that's guiding them through that and talking them through something that could be one of the hardest things they're doing physically, you kind of build a connection with that person.
Yeah.
And I take that very, very seriously. Like knowing that I'm that person that's leading you through this journey.
Yeah.
Like this might have been something that you've wanted for years.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
100%.
And oftentimes when people make a decision like joining a fitness club or joining a class, there's something that's driving them there.
Right. And they're spending hard-earned money on this too. And you have to remember that too sometimes. Where like, this is my job, but this is also X amount of money that this person is investing into themselves.
It's true.
So I'm very, very passionate about making sure that I give them a great experience.
Now, all right, so early on you said that you started yoga when you were younger, when you were in high school, right? And carrying it into college. You know, fill in the gap between college of you, I guess, starting with yoga, maybe teaching a couple classes, to March 15th, you know, opening up a business. What happened in between there?
Yeah, so I guess it starts with I went into college thinking that I wanted to be a teacher. I was one of those people that said, you know, I was born to do something, and that was teaching. My grandma was a very famous math teacher. She actually was the first person to ever be inducted in the Long Island Math Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh.
Which people don't even know that exists.
No, I don't.
It does exist.
Oh
so
my goodness.
I have
By the way, my
teaching in
son is
blood.
going to make that list. He's brilliant at math.
Yeah.
So that's very, very cool.
Yeah. It's teaching is in my blood. So I just always assumed that, you know, I was going to be a teacher.
Yes.
So that's what I went to college for.
Okay.
And I started taking the teaching courses again. I was doing the yoga thing on the side. And then I was going from program to program to program. It was primary to secondary to biology to math. And it was like just nothing was
clicking,
resonating with me. And I was like, you know, I'm the type of person that always I need passion. Like I can't just do something to do something.
Yeah.
I get stuck in a rut very easily. So I went through college. I got my degree in psychology, which was just because I ended up having the most credits in psychology.
Sure.
So, okay.
By default.
Yeah. All right. So psychology. And then it came time to try to go to grad school because that was just the next logical step. And sent out a bunch of applications, did not get accepted anywhere. At first I was super bummed, but then it actually ended up being the best thing ever because I realized that I don't want to be doing this. I worked at a mental health facility for a little bit of time as an addiction counselor. Hated it, felt stuck in a rut. And I just started taking more fitness classes, and I discovered, like, okay, this is what I feel happy doing. And started teaching a little bit more. Teaching a little bit more. And then I said, you know what? This is what I want to do.
You just fell in love with it.
I fell in love with it. My parents were like, you're a college graduate. You want to start teaching yoga classes?
Right.
I said, I do.
Right.
And so
That's
fast
amazing.
forward.
Okay.
Somehow it just became this. I blinked my eyes, and now I have a studio.
Amazing. You know, you experienced something, and I think it's really important for everyone to sort of latch onto. And so I'm gonna add some clarity here.
Sure.
Is that a lot of people would look at various moments in that story that you just told me as failure, right? They would be like, you know what, I'm applying to grad school and I'm not getting in. I failed. And I think it's about mindset and perspective. And I think you did a really great job of saying, all right, maybe this is not failure. Maybe this is an indication. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe this is something I should be paying attention to. And this is leading me down the path that I'm supposed to be going down. So ultimately, when you now, big picture, if you go above and now look at your whole storyline, you're like, wow, she didn't fail at all. In fact, she just found her path. But in the moment, in the micro moments, we have a tendency to overwhelm ourselves with what's going on. And the only thing that's happening in front of us is the most important thing. And we get overwhelmed and sad and depressed. And we're like, oh, we failed. But sometimes we need to step back, gain a little perspective, change our mindset, and realize, hey, maybe this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah, I'm definitely the type of person that feels like everything happens for a reason. But I'm definitely also the person that's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And so in the moment, I was like, oh my God, like I was not used to like not having something go my way.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, like how do I cope?
Yeah.
And it was just through continuing to teach fitness classes, because I said, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm happy doing, and hopefully this will lead me to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. And so, any regrets at all? Are you sort of happy where you are and where you're going?
I am very happy with
good.
where I am now. Life is treating me pretty well despite the crazy year previous.
Yeah. Yeah, we can always find things to be thankful for, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. Like I was telling you before, I was looking out. I was actually teaching a class the day after Thanksgiving. I always teach the day after Thanksgiving an hour-and-a-half detox class.
Wow.
And it's very, very special. I put a lot of energy and emotion into it. We do a lot of breath work. It's yoga.
Okay.
We do a lot of postures that are meant to detox the body.
Wow. See,
And
for me though, it would have to be the day after that because my high holy day is the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like I have this famous like Thanksgiving day after Thanksgiving sandwich that I eat. So
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is not the big day for me. For me, it's the day after. So I guess I would have to be the day after.
Yeah.
Right? Detox.
Most people, they want to come in and do like this crazy, like, let's do Tabata, let's burn a bunch of calories.
geez.
And I throw them out of their comfort zone and I say, we're
Yeah.
doing yoga.
Wow, is that right?
I'm not giving you a HIIT
Yeah.
class.
Wow.
I'm giving you a yoga class. And they realize it can be a workout yoga. But I just remember like looking out at the end when they were all in Shavasana after class, which is the rest at the end.
Okay.
And I was looking out and I almost like shed a tear because I'm looking out at like 5 people, and that's a full class right now with the restrictions.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I am so blessed to have people that trust me and trust my space to be clean and safe and to be here with me and to just share this energy, share this breath with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just really special.
Yeah. Now, 2020, we've mentioned it a few times. It comes as no surprise, has been a challenge for a lot of people this year. Whether it be that you are a business owner and you were hit with the shutdown and there's a lot of people now struggling just to keep up, or you worked for someone else and you got furloughed or laid off and money's tight. Like there's been a lot of struggles that led a lot of people to now really, struggle and suffer now with various types of, depression is a big thing right now. I have a number of people that I know that have really struggled over the past year with that. And having a good support system is really important. Have you seen that at all? Have you experienced that? Have you talked with anyone? Are you seeing something similar in nature with some people through 2020?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think number one is it's human nature. Touch is a huge thing. And so I know a lot of my clients have said just the human connection with other people throughout the shutdown really affected them. I was doing live classes on Zoom throughout the whole thing. And I just remember my clients were saying like, it's great. Thank you so much for doing this. But I just want to hear everyone else's breath with me,
Yes.
And especially with fitness, I feel like in person, the camaraderie that you get with other people cheering you on, me cheering you on, being with you, figuratively and literally holding your hand sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't get that.
I totally agree with you.
And same thing with like family celebrations, Thanksgiving and Christmas, people celebrating via Zoom. It's just not the same.
It's not. I mean, it's nice that we have technology to give us that type of convenience. At least we had something, right? But ultimately, even Zoom cannot never replace the human connection. I say this all the time. We were created to be companion individuals, right? Humans need other humans. We need the flesh on flesh. We need to see each other. And this is that's how we thrive. And so being able to get back to that place, I think is important. And whatever we need to do in order to get there, let's do it, right? And this way, people like you can really service your clients even better and help people because you're not. And I'm gonna go on a limb here because I've talked with a lot of fitness and gym owners, people in the health and wellness space, and so this is the sort of the common thread that I've learned is that you're not just actually helping people to become physically fit. You're actually by default helping people become mentally fit as well. And so I think it's really important for people in your space to be active and available to the community so that they can get, they can reach those physical goals, but through that journey, they're achieving something even more important, which they're becoming mentally fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's great. Now, I know you've got quite a personal story,
Yeah.
and honestly, if I ever sort of go too far, just let me know and say no, I don't want to answer that question. That's fine. But you've shared with me off camera some incredible personal stories.
Yeah.
It's really what led me to speaking with you on Instagram. I know that your mom has reached out to me a few times
Yes,
locally,
the
right?
momager.
The momager. By the way, that's amazing. Can you tell everyone before we move forward, what is a momager?
The momager is the mom boss. Sometimes I feel like she's more of a boss than I am. She does everything from making appointments for like the plumber to come into the studio.
Wow.
She'll sweep for me. She'll wipe the bars down
my
after
goodness.
class.
That's a good
She
mom.
literally does everything.
She's amazing.
She's the momager.
She's amazing. So sometimes every now and then you have to remind her. By the way, that's my name on the building.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like it's Donna's bar.
Yeah. But that's great that you have someone like that
I have a
in your
huge
corner.
support system.
That's huge.
Huge support
That's
system.
That's amazing. And I'm sure that played a factor into this next thing that we're going to be talking
Yes.
about. Now, I don't even want to reveal too much. I want to let you tell your
Okay.
story, but what was that struggle that you had early on? And if you don't mind, like, be as open and transparent as you're comfortable with.
Don't worry, I will.
Okay.
So I struggled with exercise addiction and bulimia and anorexia. The way that it started, in my opinion, is really like in middle school and high school. I've always been a little bit heavier. I was that kid that would go to the doctor and the doctor would, give you that little push, like, you need to lose a little bit of weight. And that's a whole other thing that I think that doctors should have extra training in how to present certain information, because
It could be damaging.
yeah.
Okay.
And once I got into high school, I was ridiculed for my weight. I was a very shy person, believe it or not, because I know it seems like now even my clients will be like, "You're shy." I'm like, "Yes, believe it or not, I'm a shy person." So I was very quiet, and I guess that also made me a bit of an easy target because I would never speak up for myself. And I became the fat goth girl in high school, so that's what everyone called me. Really, I just liked to wear black. I wasn't goth or anything. I just thought black was cool, but that became my name. And
Now, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Did that bother you when you first heard that, or did you sort of embrace that sort of label?
So the goth thing didn't really bother me because I guess I did listen to music that might be considered goth to some people.
By the way, I actually went through a goth stage myself.
Haven't we all either been through a scene, emo or goth
exactly.
phase? I mean,
yes.
come on.
Yes, preach it, 100%. Back in the day, now listen, I'm a lot older than you, but back in the early 90s, emo was really taking off. Like, I was emoed out.
Yeah, and I would beg to differ that I was more emo than goth.
Okay,
but
there you go.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The goth part didn't really bother me. But the fat thing definitely bothered me because that
terrible.
was something I kind of internalized based on what the doctors had been telling me. Like, I never went on diets or anything, but I just kind of knew, like, I'm overweight.
Okay.
And but then once other people started calling me fat was when I kind of was like, okay, goth, I'm fine with being known as the goth girl in high school, but I want to be known for something more than just being fat in high school. As a teenager, we want to, we seek approval from other peers and other people, and just to know that the way that these people saw me was just as this fat girl.
Yeah, and they were using it in a derogatory sense.
Yeah,
and that's terrible. That's just cruel.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and to try to label someone like that and say that their value is directly associated with that label is horrible.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was like, didn't care to get to know me or my personality or anything. It was just, okay, this girl's fat. So that was what I was known for. So I said, you know what? I want to be known for something other than being fat.
Okay.
So I went to my dad one day and I said, I want to start losing some weight.
Okay.
Can I get like either a treadmill or an elliptical or something like that? And he said, sure. We went out, got an elliptical, put it in the basement, and It started out fine, and I feel like that's an important thing to say with eating disorders and exercise addiction is no one goes and starts a journey saying, I am going to have an eating disorder. It starts from an innocent or healthy place where you are trying to better yourself. And that's what I thought I was doing. And how it started was I was making healthy changes for myself. It started with 10 minutes on the elliptical. Next week, I was able to do 15 minutes. And, you know, just it was fine for the first like year, I'd say. I was just, you know, it was a healthy balance of exercise, diet, and life. And so that's when students started noticing the weight loss and would start complimenting me on it. So in my head, I'm going, okay, I'm not the fat goth girl anymore. Now they're telling me I look good. So you know what? I have to keep this up. So once I got to a certain place, like for example, let's say I was on the elliptical for 45 minutes a day, which is not that bad. I mean, that's normal. It was, okay, I can never go under 45 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know why I had that thought process. But at that point, it was like, oh, if I take a rest day, they're going to stop complimenting me. You know, I need to be doing exactly what I'm doing. And then it was an hour on the elliptical. And then it was, oh, I'm going to get a personal trainer because I want to keep looking good. And then associated with that, I started lessening the calories. And then I discovered laxative pills.
Oh, wow.
And again, started with 1 or 2 a day. And then at the worst of my eating disorder, I was taking 25 laxative pills a day.
25?
And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And at that point, I know I'm kind of like skipping a little bit, but it was planning my day around what time I'm going to take my laxative, so I know what time I'm going to the bathroom, and I know not to plan a college class.
Wow.
To plan.
It became like an obsession.
Exactly. It was, I mean, I wouldn't go out to restaurants. I wouldn't go out with, it was, this is the time I'm going to the gym, so don't plan anything here. This is the time I'm taking my laxatives, so I can't plan anything.
So it really had power over you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So it became, the thoughts just took over. And it was, okay, well, I took 25 laxative pills yesterday and was on the elliptical for 2 hours and had an hour personal training session yesterday. So I need to do that tomorrow or I'm going to gain weight.
Oh my gosh.
And then, of course, again, it was, okay. And at this point, I'm still seeing a fat girl in the mirror. That there was a lot of body dysmorphia attached to that.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah.
You know, and because I don't mean this to be offensive at all,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people that maybe have never known anyone to suffer from this,
Right.
they hear that statement, they're like, how can you possibly see any type of fat or anything like that? Like, can you explain that?
It's so hard to explain, and it's something that I really don't understand myself either. But when you've lived in a body for X amount of years, you just kind of associate yourself with it. It's kind of like when, for example, like if you lost 20 pounds, it's over a period of time and you're looking at yourself in the mirror every day. So you might not be able to be like, oh, I lost the 20 pounds. But someone that hasn't seen you in 6 months would be like, wow, I can tell you lost weight. I think it's kind of the same thing like that, where I'm seeing my body every day. So I'm not seeing the weight loss on my body. I'm seeing still that starting image.
So you became, I don't know if it's a safe assumption to say this, but did you come addicted to seeing a result then? Like you had to see a result or hear a result from other people?
I think it was, I never really saw results. It was more the number on the scale.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
So I would be weighing myself after I ate any type of meal, which like a meal at the end of it was like prune juice.
So you would weigh yourself like multiple times a day?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And if it was even an ounce over what I weighed the previous time, I would go on the elliptical and have to lose that ounce.
Okay.
And obviously now I know that's ridiculous. There's so many reasons why you can gain an ounce. But that's what it was at the time.
Wow. So let's talk about a little bit triggers. What do you think was the trigger? Now I know, listen, you've gone through, I want everyone to understand the end of the story here. You've successfully gotten through this, obviously, right? So, but what was the trigger for you that really sort of started you down this unhealthy path?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things. Number one is definitely, like I was saying before, I'm a perfectionist. And at first it was with school, it was always having to be successful in school. So I think once I heard that I was fat, it kind of triggered that like perfectionist voice in my head where it was like, well, now I have to succeed at this. So I have to succeed in not being fat. And then just like with school, sometimes I would have an unhealthy addiction to studying and isolating myself to study and needing to have everything be perfect. It was, okay, now I'm isolating myself to be skinny and prioritizing that over everything.
And I want to take a moment to really, I want everyone to really think about this for a second. We need to be very careful and guard what we say to people. And I've always been a firm believer of this. Number one is you have no idea what you do and say, how it impacts people, right? Because in passing, we could say something and never cross paths with someone again, but that for some reason that person latched onto it, right? It affects them. We need to, as a community, as a human culture, we need to be very careful and be more sensitive to people and guard our words and not do things for a laugh. And you know what? Even be careful in trying to do things to intentionally hurt people in the moment because you're emotional. Because that could be long-term damaging. And, that short-term reward because you're like, oh, I hurt that person in the moment. Well, you could destroy their life long-term, And in your case, all of those people said cruel things to you that led you to that toxic thought, right? And so what would you say to the audience right here? Number one, what would you say to someone who has received that type of toxicity, the cruel comments, and it's eating at them? What can you say to someone like that would encourage them right now?
Yeah, I think number one, just to kind of go off of what you just said with the little things, and then I'll answer that. Because it made me think of something, is I've heard a lot of people, again, working in health and fitness, a lot of people will say something like, oh, I ate X, insert cupcake, popcorn, whatever it is, but now I took this class, so I don't feel guilty anymore. Or they'll say to like a child, oh, I'm going to be good and not eat this cupcake today. And like, I literally cringe when I hear things like this because especially it's something that you might not struggle with. And so like when you say it, you're not really thinking of anything, but that is the diet culture talking, and that person or kid or whoever it is, they're so perceptive and they can pick that up and really run with it. And I remember my mom would say things like that too. I mean, innocently, she would never say anything intentionally to harm me, but we all say things like that. I think if we, everyone listening, that probably made them think like, oh yeah, I do say that sometimes. So like you said, you never know who's listening, but I think for anyone that's heard something like that and is struggling, it's so hard because I don't really know if there's like a right or wrong thing to say to that, because it really is all about like your mindset to it. But
what about talking with people?
Talking with, I would say, I've definitely, like, when I hear things like that, I will actually school people on that and
will
be
you
like,
really?
Oh yeah, I'm very passionate about that.
When you see someone in someone else that reminds you of maybe your experience, are you bold enough to approach that person? Obviously in love, but approach them and be like, listen, I'm recognizing something here. I went through this.
Absolutely. In fact, this happened just recently where a friend of mine opened up to me about using laxative pills, which again, I'm telling you about laxative pills, and this is probably something that you never really knew that people abused, because
no idea.
we don't, I mean, it's something that's not known, but that's actually a form of bulimia.
Oh my gosh.
We typically associate bulimia with throwing up. But actually there's a bunch of different types of bulimia. So laxative pills is one way of purging, and exercise is also a way of purging. I struggled with both of those. But yeah, my friend opened up to me about laxative use, and I actually set her up with a therapist, because I said that's not normal what you're telling me. And so I can see the warning signs on people, and I like to keep an eye on them. But even people that, aren't that severe where they're using laxative pills, but they just say something in passing, because I come across that literally almost daily in my studio. I just gently say to them, like, hey, that's the diet culture talking.
You want to be as encouraging as you possibly can, Now, all right, what about, because this is hard, this is hard for me. I'll make it personal. Like, obviously, I can't relate, right? I've never gone through that, but I have people in my life that I know that have struggled with that. Right? Now, what advice can you give me on how I can help my friends? Like, what can I say? What can I do that's not going to be offensive? Because I'm sure when you were at your peak of going through this, you probably had people in your life trying to talk to you, and you're probably, either denying it, right? So like, how does someone like me approach someone in love and help them out?
I mean, you definitely have to be careful with your words. I definitely wouldn't bring up weight at all, because I know a lot of people will be like, hey, like, I've noticed, you've been losing like a lot of weight, or you look like a lot thinner, is everything okay?
They
like,
probably
what's
want to
going
hear
on?
that, right?
That's going to encourage them and be okay, what I'm doing is working.
Interesting.
So I'm going to keep doing it. So I would maybe kind of like approach them like, hey, is everything all right? Or just in a friendly way, like not leading on to, well, it seems like they have an eating disorder, or they're struggling with weight or exercise. Just kind of like a friendly, like, hey, just checking in with you. Like, how's it going? Especially now, like with the, with the pandemic still going on, it's a kind of good way to kind of be like, hey, how are you doing throughout this?
Oh, that's
it's like a good segue kind of, because then they're not going to suspect that you're saying it because of the eating disorder.
All right, what was that moment where you decided to make a change, though? What was that pivotal moment for you?
So I had been hiding it for a while, and very surprisingly, like, that my parents or family members didn't pick up on it. But I remember it was to the point where when I would walk down to the basement to use my elliptical, I would pass out every time on the stairs, because I was just I didn't have any food in my system. I was woozy, and but I would still end up getting up, going back on, and I just realized, okay, at this point, do I really want to be living my life like this? Yes, it's the only thing that's comforting to me right now, because I had been doing it for so many years. I didn't know how to live my life any other way. I just knew that, okay, even though it's scary, I don't want to live like this. These disordered thoughts are controlling me, and I don't like that. I'm the person that likes to be in control, and I realized I'm not in control anymore. And I found a NEDA walk, which is the National Eating Disorder Association. They were doing like a fundraiser walk or something like that. And I just said to my mom, hey, like, do you want to attend this with me? Like, I don't have an eating disorder or anything. I just kind of like, it resonates with me, and I think it would be a good thing to go to together.
Okay.
And so we went, and before we did like the walk, there was a speaker there, and the speaker was talking about her struggle with an eating disorder. And I just remember looking over at my mom, and her face just went completely white.
Oh my gosh.
And she turned to me, she goes, you do that? Like, as the speaker's talking, she's turning over to me, and you do that too, and you do that too. And she's like, it just like clicked in her head, like, oh, you're, that was that moment where she's like, you're struggling with an eating disorder. And it's kind of like, I feel like what I was telling you, with some of these things, you don't realize that these are things that are associated with eating disorders.
Yeah.
My mom didn't know either. So she didn't realize all of these things that I was doing were eating disorder behaviors. So then she started looking for help for me at that time. And it was kind of like, okay, you know, I'm ready.
I'm sure that must have been hard on you, but also hard on your mom.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't mind, sort of take me back to that moment again. Now you go home and now your mom's aware.
Yeah.
Right. And does your mom share this with your other family members? And how did you, as a group, as a core group, right? How did you guys handle it?
She just said, like, we're gonna get you help. And at that point, I wasn't even gonna deny it anymore, because, like I said, I actually did want help to a certain extent. Once the help came, I didn't really want it anymore.
Yeah.
But so she started looking up different therapists and stuff like that. Because at that point, I didn't have a therapist, because I had opened up to my therapist a year previous about my eating disorder, and she dropped me as a client because she said, you're too severe for me. And I just didn't tell my parents.
Wow.
So I wasn't even having therapy at that point or anything like that. So she's like, let's find you a therapist. Jeez. Same thing happened. No therapist would take me because I was way beyond that. They were like, you got to get this girl, like, in a treatment center. Like, this is beyond what we can help you with.
And is that what you ended up doing?
Yeah. So I ended up going to a treatment center. It was like a hospital outpatient type of program. And so I had to do like some intakes for it before, and they actually said, because you had to get like EKG and blood work and stuff like that, they said that because my resting heart rate was 45, and they said, you know, if your heart rate was any slower than that, we would have admitted you to the hospital, like no questions asked. But I started going to that program and failed completely. I was doing what I was supposed to while I was there. It was a 6-hour program. Okay. But then I would go home and exercise for 3 hours. Is that right? And not eat. Yeah. Take the laxative pills and.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so then I ended up having to go to a full live-in treatment center. So I went to California to a full live-in treatment center, and that's kind of what made it stick for me. Yeah. I had to have 24 hours of someone making sure I wasn't engaging in the behaviors, because if I didn't have someone monitoring me, I was going to engage in those behaviors. It was pointless for me to be at this treatment center.
You could have died.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. So obviously now this point must have been hard.
Yeah.
You know, being able to make that adjustment, change your mind, change your habits. That must have been really hard. Probably a lot of tears. Right?
Yes.
A lot of arguments, right?
Oh, I was nasty.
But your family ultimately, because your mom is, what would you call it, momager?
The momager.
Listen, momager's still around, so obviously, you know, she is stuck with you through it all, and really, you probably have an amazing support system.
She flew out to California with me.
Did she really?
To make sure that everything was settled.
So everyone needs a momager.
Everyone needs a momager. Sorry, mine is taken.
Because
she's
amazing.
Have her.
Right. So very, very cool. So was there a moment, maybe it was a moment with your mom, or was there a moment with someone that maybe it was while you were in treatment or after you're in treatment? Because you can be going through treatment, going through the motions, but you have to make the commitment up here, right? Do you remember? Yeah. Was there a time like that for you?
I remember the last day that I was on the treatment center, which, by the way, I actually checked out myself. I wasn't discharged. I checked out myself because I realized that I kind of I don't want to say I knew what I was doing, but it was that moment where it clicked for me. Yeah. And I knew staying there was actually going to like hinder me. Okay. Where I was like, I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah. And so I checked myself out. Wow. My mom was like freaking out. She took like a red eye to California to be like, what are you doing? Like everyone in the treatment center was like, I mean, they were very blunt about it. They said, you're going to relapse, you're going to die. Like, they straight up looked me in the eyes and they said, you're not ready to go, you're going to relapse and you're going to die.
When they said that to you, like, you're going to die, did you believe him, or
No.
you didn't believe him at all? You're like,
No.
nah, not me.
I was like, I'm not dying.
Right.
I'm getting out of here. I'm peacing out. I'm going to a hotel.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to go to the bathroom without having you guys watch me.
Right.
It's like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm still here.
You're
So
still there. Yeah. So
prove them wrong.
you did prove them wrong, but do you think that is a good approach for everyone?
No, I would not recommend that at
okay.
all. Do not do what I did.
Yeah.
I think that I am definitely in the minority with that. I'm
Yeah.
also in the minority because after I left that treatment center, I never went back to another one.
You never did.
No.
You overcame. You're an
Yeah.
overcomer. That's great.
I told you I'm a perfectionist, so I was gonna do recovery perfect.
Right.
It really wasn't. It wasn't even close to being perfect,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was determined.
Yeah, that's wonderful though.
Yeah.
All right. So you were able to get back on your feet and completely just change your life,
Yeah.
right? For the better. And so now we're gonna fast forward all that time, right?
Yes.
Which leads you where you are today. You're in the studio with us. You're telling your amazing
Yes.
story, and now we're almost, we're going almost approaching a year into this pandemic
Yeah,
now.
so crazy.
And you're a perfectionist in you. You're not giving up.
No, never.
Your business is not only going to get through this, but you're going to thrive.
I'm building my empire.
Girl, that's what I like to hear. That's
Yeah.
right. You're going to see a Kelsies Barre on every corner.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So what is that? What's the big plans? 2021 is here. Entrepreneurs around the world, they make their plans for 2021. What's yours?
So I have a kind of, I guess what most business owners are doing now is they're realizing that you have to take your business virtual to some extent
Yes.
to be successful now, because people are either immunocompromised or they don't feel comfortable coming in to a place, which is fine. I respect that completely, and I want to cater to everyone. So that's exactly what I'm working on now. Is continuing to create online content. And I actually, what's currently going on now is my Fit Reset program, which is a 30-day, I call it a challenge, but I don't like to use the word challenge because, again, I like to set realistic expectations for everyone. And I don't like to say you have to log on every single day to be successful, because that's not true. But it keeps me accountable, at least, where I'm putting out a video every single day.
Wow.
And it's fitness, it's yoga, it's meditation, it's breath work. And along with that, if you sign up for my newsletters, you get an email that corresponds with that video every day. And so it's a blog on either, whatever that day is. So January 1st was detox flow. So it was all about the yoga poses for detoxing. We have days on recovery, the importance of recovery days.
Lots of education. Being there is an available resource.
Exactly. Good. So it's all like fitness and education and stuff like that combined.
Great.
So that's how I'm kicking off 2021.
Love it.
So,
that's amazing.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to go off topic a little bit. All right, I always like giving some people some curveballs here.
Yes. I'm excited.
What is one book? It doesn't matter what book it was or when you read it. It could be Dr. Seuss or something more serious, right? But what is one book that you read?
One book that I read. So the first thing that comes to my mind is The Shack. I don't remember who wrote it.
Okay.
But it was actually an assigned book from one of my college classes.
Yep.
I went to St. Joseph, so we were required to do like one religious class.
Sure. Yep.
And of course, I'm going into this class like, oh, this is going to be the worst
Dreading
thing
it.
ever.
Yeah.
It actually was my favorite class I ever took in college.
Is that right? Oh, wow.
It was kind of about how like the different religions view like death and life.
Okay.
So interesting. And the book just, and again, it was something where like we had to read it in like 2 days or something.
I read it. It's a very quick read.
Yeah, and I started reading it and I literally didn't put it down.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So The Shack is your book.
Yeah.
All right. Very, very cool. All right. So when you're not, doing in your fitness world, when you're not at Kelsies Barre and you're not recording all this incredible content for all of your clients, what is one thing that you absolutely love to do?
Watch the Mets with my cats.
Watch the Mets with your cat. So you're a Mets fan.
Mets fan. Both of my cats are named after Mets players.
Come on. What's their names?
Nimmy is named after Brandon Nimmo.
No way.
And JD
Okay.
is named after JD Davis.
Incredible. All right, so I'm a Mets fan as well.
Yes.
So we don't have a lot to be excited for, but we are still loyal to our team, right?
Always.
Always loyal. Okay, so I'm gonna expect to see you with your Mets hat or jersey on one day. Cheering on the Mets.
I'm excited to be able to go back to Citi Field one day, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Awesome. All right, and what is one family tradition that you have that you love?
My favorite family tradition is the day after Thanksgiving, my mom and I get in matching Christmas pajamas and we watch The Grinch That Stole Christmas, drink peppermint martinis, and decorate the Christmas tree.
Well, I definitely want an invite there because the peppermint martini sounds delicious.
They are.
Okay. All right. Very, very cool. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you. Thank you for coming to the studio, being a part of Don't Fear Grit. You've got an amazing story that obviously is not over. You're just really beginning as an entrepreneur.
And
I have a feeling in a few years, we're going to see the Kelsie Barre empire really take off. It's going to be amazing.
I was going to say I hope so, but I know
You know so. And listen, I appreciate you being open and vulnerable and honest about your story. I'm sure, it must be still hard to sort of talk about, but I think that there's a lot of people that, like you were sharing, are struggling with this, but they're quiet about it and no one knows.
Not only that, but I think some people don't realize they have an eating disorder either.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's how it started with me. Was I actually Googled what I was doing, and that's how I realized that I had an eating disorder.
Is that right?
I didn't know I had an eating disorder, and I think that a lot of people, whether they're convincing themselves of it or it's genuine, don't realize that they have it too. So I hope that this brings awareness to that.
Yeah. And if you could, what were you said you had found some resources. You went to March, or can you just remind everyone what's the name of these things? Maybe people, they're curious and they want to look this up.
Yeah, so there's the National Eating Disorder Association. That's really the number one for eating disorders, that has the most resources and where you can find like treatment centers, where to get help. Also, self plug, but I love helping out people with that. I also wrote a book on my experience.
What's the name of your book?
So my book's called My Devil Twin. That's what I call my eating disorder, my devil twin. And so there's that too.
Where can they get the book?
It's on Amazon. Right now it's just an ebook.
Okay.
But
that's great.
It's still good.
That's wonderful.
I know I'm a little biased, but it's a good book. You should get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think people should get it for either themselves.
Yeah.
It's probably, I'm going to get it myself, and I'm going to read through it because I think it's important to even educate yourself on these things. And then get it for someone else as well.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really great. Now, you mentioned you don't mind people reaching out to you.
No.
How could someone reach out to you? Whether it be we've got two different people who are interested in fitness and they want to become a client, but maybe they're a little bit nervous and scared to talk to their family about it, and maybe they would feel more comfortable talking to you about their struggles.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
So I like Instagram the best because I also post a lot of like what I think is inspirational or things that I find on the Instagram Explore page that resonate with me, that I'll repost and kind of add like my little caption to it of what I'm feeling. So my Instagram is KelsieCohenCPT. So then you can get information about exercise, eating disorder, pictures of my cats, which I think is really the best part about it.
Awesome. And one more time, give a plug. What's the name of your business? If you have a website, let them know all that good stuff and where your business is located.
Yes. So Kelsies Barre, www.KelsieSbarre.com. So Kelsie with an IE, not an EY. Get that all the time. And we're located on 269 Smithtown Boulevard. And 229. Oh my gosh, I don't even know my own location. 229.
Scratch that, reverse it. There you go.
229 Smithtown Boulevard.
They're gonna go to a different location. Yeah. Wait, where is she?
That's where I am, right next to the big Glow Tan storefront. So you'll probably see Glow Tan before you see me.
Okay. All right, excellent. Well, everyone, go follow her on Instagram. Check out her website. If you are local to that community, I highly recommend seeking her out. And it sounds like it's a place that you're going to get a good results. You're going to be able to achieve your goals, but I think you're going to have a blast.
Oh, yeah. We have a
it.
lot of fun, but
Yeah.
also I have a different definition of fun than most people.
All right. Well, listen.
I'll let you guys discover that.
Okay. I think everyone out of curiosity alone
That's
should
right.
seek you out.
See
right?
what my type of fun is.
Well, very good. Listen, honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, I really enjoyed this. We're going to have you back, you know, after you relaunch, I guess, in 2021 with all these
right.
incredible plans.
That's
We're going
right.
to have you back to talk about all that good stuff.
Awesome. I
think
look forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. So thank you again. I appreciate it. Everyone go follow her. You've got her handle now on Instagram. You've got her website. Follow her. Do all that stuff. We need to support each other. Remember, the tide rises for all ships. So everyone, it doesn't matter where you are. Let's go ahead and support our dear friend now to the show, Kelsie of Kelsies Barre. Amazing. So guys, you remember, don't fear the process and don't fear grit. We'll see you next time. Take care.